Can you imagine a world where our Mother Earth gets infected with a deadly virus that upon contact can turn any normal human being into a brain-hungry zombie? Well, let's dive into this awesome thriller, World War Z, to witness the survival. This film is directed by Mark Forster and was released in 2013. So let's begin. The film begins with Jerry and his family living a very pleasant life. As Jerry gets up to prepare breakfast, he turns on the news and hears about a new government military law that is supposed to be obeyed by the citizens. Then cuts straight to a roadblock where Jerry and his family are stuck in traffic. As they converse, Jerry's wife notices helicopters flying above them. They felt something was off and turn on the radio to hear what's going on. The news tells about the violent spread of rabies over 12 countries. Suddenly, a motorbike hits the side mirror of Jerry's car and rides past them. As he gets out to get hold of what's going on, an explosion occurs right opposite the roadblock. So there was an ambush of an uncontrolled truck hitting everything on its way. For the safety of his family, Jerry drives after the truck to escape the ruckus. But their car gets hit by another vehicle, but luckily no one's severely hurt. As the family gets out of the car, we can notice that many of the people who were running were odd-faced. They were chasing normal people and biting them to death. Yes, they are zombies, and they are trying to infect the people around. Then we can see the person who was bit turning into a zombie. With no clue about what's happening, Jerry and his family travels to a safe place. Slowly, we can see the big picture of the whole city burning. Inside the truck they stole, Jerry's daughter finds a rifle that will come in handy upon zombie attack. The older daughter, Rachel, suddenly feels nauseous and requires immediate help with medicine. For this, they drive next to a pharmacy. After some time, Jerry gets a call from his former colleague, Thierry. He tells him about how crazy the situation is, and that they barely made it out, and that he doesn't know what happened either, and that he needs Jerry's help to find out what's happening. Karen, Jerry's wife, manages to get the RV going. Thierry tells Jerry that he'll try to get a chopper to them and call him back with an extraction point in an hour. Before he hangs up, he once again tells Jerry that he would need him back on the job. They arrive at a place named Newark and proceed to a store that has already been stormed by people. They decide to part ways to save time, and they split up, with Karen going to get some food and Jerry taking Rachel to find the medicine for her asthma attacks. In the pharmacy, they run into a guy with a gun who asks them what they need. He finds the medicine for them and gives it to Jerry along with something else that might help. Meanwhile, Connie, her younger daughter, screams for him, rolling by herself in a cart. They get to her and see Karen being dangerously attacked by a zombie. Jerry does not hesitate and goes after her, but the men start shooting. He shoots back and gets one of them. A police officer runs in, and Jerry puts his hands up, but he just goes to get the groceries he needs. The family gets out of the store with no serious damages and gets shocked to find the RV they stole gone missing. Jerry calls Thierry to tell him where they will be, but he says he can get a chopper for them earliest at sunrise. The family is required to be waiting on top of an apartment building. As they get to the building, a few zombies chase them. Jerry holds them off outside and then joins the family to secure the door. As they run up the stairs, the zombies break through the door and follow them behind. Unfortunately, in the chaos of the chase, they find Connie missing and go searching for her. They find her in front of an open door with another family inside. Jerry gets them inside to safety. They get settled and communicate with the parents via Thomas, their son. Jerry manages to find an emergency broadcast on the radio. The message stated that everyone should stay indoors at all times and should not try to roam outside at any cost, if possible, because of an unidentified deadly virus that has spread statewide. Then we cut to see Jerry waking up from a nightmare and hearing something mysterious outside. He finds Rachel and Thomas in another room, and the boy tells him that she was crying. Later, Jerry talks to the father and tells him that they have a better chance to survive if they hold together until everything gets better if they come with them. But he declines his offer. Jerry and his family leave the apartment. They hear the zombies inside the building and run towards the roof while Thomas's family argues about going with them because the zombies are at their door ready to attack any moment. Jerry's family hides to regroup. When they open the doors, the zombies attack instantly. They run up the stairs, panicking, and Jerry manages to fight off a few of them, with more zombies at their tail, all bloodthirsty. Meanwhile, the chopper approaches the building, but the pilot fails to see them since they are downstairs trying to defend themselves. But shortly, Jerry fights another zombie as Karen and the girls escape to the roof. Suddenly, Thomas kills the zombie that was close to him attacking. Karen lights the flares. The chopper sees them. Jerry comes to the roof with Thomas, but gets away from them to see if he'll turn into a zombie. He takes a moment, but hears the zombies at the door and runs to hold it down. When the chopper lands, Karen and the kids get onto it to safety. A soldier cover fires Jerry's back so he can get to the chopper. They continue shooting at the zombies, who throw themselves after the helicopter and fall off the building. The chopper lands on a UN ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Thierry gets happy to reunite with his old colleague, greets them upon arrival, and leads them to their bunks where they can have their safe stay. He tells them that they're not dropping anchor again. As he leads Jerry to command, he informs them that all the major cities around the globe took the worst of the virus, and every minute, thousands of people are dying. Then Dr. Fastbach eventually figures out that once they find the origin of the virus, they could create a vaccine. Thierry calls Fastbach their best bet to figure out what the virus is, and tells Jerry that the word zombie was first used in a memo from South Korea. They plan to send the doctor there to look for the source of the origin of this virus. Suddenly, a general walks into command, heading straight for Jerry. He tells him that since he was Thierry's best investigator, they want to send him to South Korea with a team and Fastbach to help them during the journey. But Jerry says no because he can't leave his family alone, and they require his care and security. The general can't convince him, so changes his attitude and threatens him. If he doesn't work for them, they will kick his family off the ship. Gary talks to Karen and tells her what their situation is. Since there's nothing much to choose from, Jerry agrees. He gives her a phone and tells her to call him once a day. Jerry promises that he'll come back, then says goodbye to his daughters and Thomas. Jerry's plane takes off. He tells Fastbach that he needs to follow the soldiers' orders without fail. Jerry also tells him to call out anything he sees as important so they can make it happen. Fastbach thinks that they'll find something there and says that sometimes what might seem like the most brutal aspect of the virus turns out to be its fault. Meanwhile, the ship is relocating all non-essential persons off board. The airplane lands in South Korea even though they fail to get an answer. No one answers from the base to confirm if they can. The hatch opens and the team begins to move out when they hear something outside. They exit slowly when zombies begin to attack. Fastbach gets panicked and runs back to the plane in a rush, slips and falls on the gun, accidentally shooting himself. The soldiers fight off the zombies and proceed to the base without Fastbach. Once inside, they met with the soldiers from the base who ask them why they're there. Jerry tells them about Fastbach, then the pilot asks about refueling. Captain Speak explains that when it comes to it, they'll have to be very careful because the zombies are drawn to noise and they can sense the location of noises. He tells them that headshots are the ones that do the trick, but they also burn the bodies when they can. He asks Jerry what he'll do since Fastbach is dead. Jerry explains the memo with the word zombie. They take him to a holding room with burned bodies and explain that all of those were soldiers trying to detain their doctor. He bit all of them. The only thing they knew about how he got the virus was that a soldier that had disappeared a week before had bitten him. When the doctor returned, he bit as many as 15 men. Unfortunately, the documents with which Jerry could track the soldier that bit the doctor were also destroyed in the fire. Speak tells him that one of his men didn't get attacked by the zombies, even though he was right in the middle of them. Jerry sees a former CIA agent in holding and talks to him. He had been selling guns to North Korea, but he tells Jerry that guns are only half measures. The agent pulls out his last remaining tooth and tells him that they pulled out the teeth of the entire population in 24 hours to stop the spread. Jerry calls it a hoax. Then the man says that Israel is the only country winning the war by building an entire wall around Jerusalem, and he tells Jerry who to find it there. Later, Jerry tells his pilot that they are going to Jerusalem. The soldiers prepare Gary and his team to get on the plane. Speak has an entire strategy of how to handle the refueling of the plane. Jerry and his team ride to the plane on bikes, and the soldiers surround the base with snipers to cover their backs. Speak tells them over the radio that they have to be quiet and get to the plane before he can bring in the fuel. As they ride, Karen calls Jerry and his ringtone wakes the zombies. The men proceed to move with zombies on their tail when Speak takes down a group of them with the fuel truck. The refueling begins as Jerry and his team fight zombies in front of the plane. A zombie attacks Jerry and Speak saves him but gets bitten himself. As Jerry is being loaded on board, Speak tells his men that he'll kill himself before he turns. Jerry sees him do it from the plane. One of his team walks out to detach the fuel line as Jerry gets in the cockpit, locking the door behind him so the zombies don't come in. When they lift off, they fall out the back of the plane. Jerry calls Karen and tells her that they'll be going to Israel. She tells him that the kids are okay. Suddenly, there's an explosion and the call is dropped. The airplane approaches Jerusalem and they ask for the Mossad agent Jerry is going there to see, and they get granted access. Jerry tells his pilot to stay with the plane. Then he's taken with a convoy to the agent. Jürgen Wormbrunn tells him that it's human nature not to believe something can happen until it already has. Jerry asks him how Israel knew. Wormbrunn tells him that they interrupted a communique from an Indian general in which he mentions fighting zombies. Jerry doesn't think that was the thing that convinced the veteran agent. Wormbrunn tells him that there are many potential origins in play, but no one knows where the virus originated. They finally arrive at the wall, through which they let people into the city. Zombies gather around the wall. People inside begin to celebrate their potential salvation. Since the singing becomes so loud it drives the zombies to the wall, and they begin climbing it. Jerry asks Wormbrunn if he could get into India and what he should look for, but the agent tells him that he can only look for a way to hide. The zombie horde climbs the wall as the celebration continues, but the authorities realize something is happening. Zombies start falling from the wall and into Jerusalem. Jerry tries to escape with Wormbrunn as the zombies begin rampaging inside the wall. Helicopters pick them off from the outside, barely making a dent. Wormbrunn tells Jerry that his people will get him to his plane. The zombies make their way deeper into the city, and the Israeli army can't do much about it. Jerry runs with a crowd that is constantly chased by zombies, until a soldier activates a grenade. Meanwhile, the pilot of Jerry's plane gets informed that the city is breached and that zombies are headed towards the airport. A zombie horde follows Jerry and the officers. He looks out of a window where a horde rampages and sees a child being completely avoided by them. The officers keep staving off the zombies as Jerry hides. They activate more grenades and kill the last zombie. She gets bitten in the process. When Jerry sees the bite mark, he cuts off her hand and the virus can't spread. The last survivors run toward the chopper that arrived for them, but it gets attacked by a group of zombies and goes down. Jerry's pilot requests immediate departure as Jerry approaches the airport. He sees his plane already in the air. They stop another departing plane. Only Jerry and Segan enter the plane through the cockpit. The pilots don't know where to go and are looking through a map when a zombie horde surrounds the plane. Fortunately, it lifts off in time. Jerry finds alcohol inside and gives it to Segan and treats her. Suddenly, Jerry remembers the story about Officer Ellis and remembers other people that have not been attacked by zombies. He realizes what they should do and calls Karen, telling her to find Thierry. Jerry tells him that he needs to locate a research facility close to him. Thierry needs to know where he is, and Jerry bangs on the cockpit door. He gives his phone to the pilot. After the conversation with Thierry, the pilot tells him that they will be going to Cardiff, where there is a possibility of reaching a WHO research facility. She opens an elevator, and a zombie attacks her. Jerry realizes something's going on as the stewardess attacks people and makes more zombies. He sees what's happening and tells the passengers to stay quiet. They work together to block out the door with everything they can find. One of the passengers drops a bag and alerts the zombies. They storm the plane and rampage through it. Jerry battles with the zombies, and he almost gets bit when Segan shoots the zombie that's after him. She keeps firing, and Jerry finds a grenade on her belt that he throws in the back of the plane. It shreds the plane, and the pilots have to make an emergency landing. Jerry puts the seatbelt on Segan, then himself. The remaining zombie attack them as the pilots prepare for impact. The plane splits into bits upon impact. Later, Jerry wakes up strapped to his seat and sees that Segan isn't in hers. He's badly wounded by a piece of shrapnel. Jerry drops from his seat. Suddenly, Segan shows up. They find their way to the WHO facility. Meanwhile, the general at the UN ship is informed that the Cardiff airport lost contact with Jerry's plane. Karen is being called in to talk to Thierry. He talks to his commander, who tells him to kick Karen and the kids off the ship. Back at the facility, Jerry is having delusions and nightmares. He wakes up and sees his wound dressed, then notices someone sitting next to him. As soon as Jerry wakes up, the man consults with someone else in another room. They come back and ask him who he is. They show him the phone, so he says, "Call it and find out who he is." Thierry is surprised that Jerry is alive and then introduces himself to the men. Before they can answer, Jerry asks about Karen, and Thierry tells him what happened. Later, Jerry is out of the restraints, and they bring Segan in to see him. They say that his family has been sent to a refugee camp, but Jerry knows they won't be safe there. The main WHO doctor asks him what he needs from them, and then takes him to get his team. Jerry asks for their deadliest virus with a high mortality rate because he wants to use it against the zombies. They tell him that he can't make the undead sick, but Jerry explains it's not for them, but the humans. He thinks that the zombies' weakness is not being able to infect a sick host. Jerry's notion is that the people he saw being avoided by the zombies had a terminal disease that the zombies could sense, so they didn't attack. Using the lethal pathogen wouldn't be a cure, but a camouflage. One of the doctors understands this reasoning, so she explains that the only way to prove that would be to meet with a zombie face to face. She says that they have all the viruses, but they're all stored in the B-wing that's infested with around 80 zombies. Another doctor tells him that the zombies in the B-wing are dormant at the moment. He shows him how they can get there. Next, Jerry, Segan, and the lead doctor are preparing to go to the wing with the vaults and get the virus. Jerry and Segan also get weapons, though the doctors tell them not to kill any zombies because it makes the rest more aggressive. The lead doctor tells his subordinates to seal the doors for good if anything else but them comes through the hallway. The doctors monitor them from the safety of the other wing. Jerry walks in first, and the light comes on as they slowly walk through the facility. They keep making noise and wake a few of the zombies a little. When they reach a lab with glass doors, Segan moves to the other side first, then the doctor, and lastly Jerry without alerting the zombies. They continue to the vaults, but make a noise with a flip door and wake up the zombies. They go through and arrive at the vaults. There is a zombie down there too, which hears them. Segan shoots her, prompting all the zombies to run towards them. Jerry distracts the zombies so the rest can get to the vault. Most of them get stuck behind a door. Only one follows Jerry. He takes it down without too much trouble. Suddenly, another one appears, and Jerry gets him too. Segan and the other doctor get to the vaults, but run into more zombies. They run and are followed out. The other doctors open the doors for them, even though they are chased by a group of zombies. They can barely manage to hold the door, but still close it eventually. Running away, Jerry manages to get to the vault where the viruses are stored. He walks inside and tries to open the door when the phone rings. The doctor tells him the passcode, and Jerry walks inside. He grabs every virus that can fit in a box. Suddenly, a zombie appears at the door, and Jerry's left with no other choice but to inject himself with one of the viruses. He gives the others a message for his family, prepares for one of the viruses, and injects it into his arm. Jerry waits for the virus to take hold while the zombie is still outside of the vault. After a while, he decides to open the door. The zombie walks in, but it doesn't attack him. His idea worked. Jerry drinks a can of soda and releases the mechanism on the soda machine to distract the zombies and get them moving in the other direction. He walks back to the main facility without the zombies giving him any trouble. The doctors give him a vaccine as he leaves the facility with Segan. Jerry goes to find his family in the refugee camp. All of them are there waiting for him. Meanwhile, his idea gets spread out to the entire world. The WHO comes with a vaccine that works as camouflage, helping people become invisible to the zombies. It gives humankind a chance to fight them off. Humans have also devised strategies to annihilate entire hordes of zombies with either fire or with bombs. Survivors find each other and get prepared for a war that's just beginning. This concludes one of the biggest zombie apocalypse movies ever made. So friends, we hoped you liked today's film. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, bye.